Welcome to Built to Last. I'm your host, Eric Swartz. This show is all about what it really takes to build quality homes, strong communities, and lasting relationships. Today, we're talking about a topic that's essential for comfort, especially here in Texas, and that's your home's HVAC system. And with me today is Clark Costa, a veteran in the industry and a supplier with Village Gate Supply. Clark, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate it, man. Looking forward to talking to you today.
Well, let's just get right into it. We've got these alphabet HVAC letters. Tell us what HVAC stands for.
Yeah, so HVAC, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. And it's one of the most important things you can do in your house, obviously, especially in Texas, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's always hot here, especially in the summertime. So, yeah, it's an incredibly, incredibly important aspect of either building a home or owning a home.
You said it's always hot. This year I've had the heater on in the morning some and the air conditioning on in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing that a lot of conversation in our industry is about is how to make a home energy efficient.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about efficiency. Everyone is interested in their homes be efficient, their cars be efficient, and logically, we want our air conditioning systems to be efficient. So talk to me a little bit about efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. So your HVAC system takes up about 50% of your electricity used on your home. So obviously, your HVAC system is going to be vital to being an energy efficient home. And really, there's some key areas of that, like the SEER rating, for instance. You hear about that a lot, in the marketplace. The higher the SEER rating, the more energy efficient system is. And that SEER rating, it stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. So again, just the higher the number is, the more energy efficient a system is. With that said, I know over on Dove Crossing, for instance, what you guys are building right now, we're doing that neighborhood with you guys, and you're using what's called an inverter system there. And so, with that SEER rating, it doesn't tell the entire story of energy efficiency for an HVAC system where, again, that number being high doesn't tell the full story because with an inverter system, that system comes on and it comes up and it's a very slow and it moves up and down on the spectrum. So it doesn't always run at 100%, right? Where a traditional system, like a single stage air conditioning system, it comes on at full capacity, stays on at full capacity, and then it goes off. So all throughout the day, it comes on, goes off, comes on, it comes off. And what we're using over there at Dove Crossing is it's an inverter system. So when it ramps up, it'll find that set point and it'll kind of throttles up and down based upon that set point. And so with those kind of systems, an inverter system, it's approximately 40% more efficient than a standard HVAC system on the market. So even like a, 18 or 20 SEER inverter is exponentially more energy efficient than even like, let's say a 17 SEER, 2-stage system, for instance. And so, again, we get fixated sometimes on these numbers like a SEER rating, but you have to look at the whole story and not just one part of the story.
So basically our old systems are like the toggle light switch on the wall. It's off, it's on, it's off, it's on. And the new systems are more like a dimmer. You can turn it on.
Yep.
And then that system's going to adjust up and down based on your usage.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it more efficient.
100%.
Well, does that help with the lifespan? And what can we expect in lifespans out of either one of these types of units?
Yeah. So again, with those old types of systems going up or going on and going off, going on and going off, well, that's a hard start every time on your system, right? And so those condensers or the compressors specifically in those condensers, I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear on those. Where an inverter system, since it's coming on a much slower pace and it ramps up slowly, you see a lot longer life expectancy on those types of systems. As a matter of fact, some of the best warranties in the market are with inverter systems because of that specific thing.
As they can warranty them because they're not going to have to fix them.
They know it's going to last a lot longer, right? Yeah.
That's a lot of sense.
Yep.
Well, what can we do to make our HVAC systems last longer?
Yeah, it's a good question. So one of the key things as a homeowner, and one of the first things you really want to do is change out your filters. I mean, that's the simplest, easiest, most efficient thing you can do to keep your system running smoothly and to not have any major issues, right? Is you just want to make sure you're changing those filters every 1 to 3 months. The nice things too is, I know on your guys' houses, and by the way, you built my house and we love our house. But you put in the smart thermostats, those Wi-Fi thermostats, and even on those, they'll tell you, right? It takes all the guesswork out of, well, when do I need to replace this? And even for me, being an industry guy, I forget, right? I forget to change my filter oftentimes. So it's nice having that pops up on my phone, every 2 to 3 months. Hey, remember, replace your filter. And so that's probably the biggest, most important thing you can do is just constantly, making sure you're changing those filters every couple of months. And then just getting routine, regular maintenance, having your HVAC contractor come out there a couple times a year. Make sure your coils are clean. Also, with your vents, making sure that you're not obstructing your vents in any way. You're not putting drapes over your vents or anything like that, because anytime you obstruct that, your system is constantly, it's breathing in and it's breathing out. And so you want to make sure that it can breathe efficiently too. And so those are 3 big things that you can really do to make sure your system's running smoothly.
Well, that's something we didn't even talk about earlier. Thermostats have changed. I'm used to it was on, off, fan or auto and adjust. And now it's the whole plethora. It's a little computer system.
It is a little computer system. The nice thing about those too is there's eco modes on there. So if you're really energy efficiency minded, you can put on the eco mode and it basically runs your system for you to make it the most efficient that it can possibly be.
Well, you talked earlier about, we live in Texas. We know it gets hot here. And so, man, I want a 80-ton air conditioning system on my house. I want that sucker to cool. And the reason I made that joke is what are things that people misunderstand about their air conditioner system?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, and like you just mentioned, is people think, well, the bigger the better, right? Well, your HVAC system, it's sized according to the square footage on your house, as well as the insulation on your house, the R value, they call it. And so, you never want to oversize it. That's not a good thing. You oversize it, it's going to create short cycling, it's called. So that system, it's going to run a lot less throughout the day. And so you're going to have humidity build up in your house. They have something called wet sock syndrome. And so there can be mold that builds up, when you oversize your system. So, or dirty sock syndrome. But you want to make sure that, again, like if your HVAC contractor, they're going to do what's called a load calculation. They're going to go in there and make sure it's sized exactly according to what your house specifies. And then if you go replace it, you don't want to put a bigger system in, you want to keep that same size system because it's based on the tonnage for your house.
So really what we're doing by going too big, the system's not running enough to be efficient.
Yep.
Very good.
Exactly.
Well, Clark, we certainly appreciate the time. But before we wrap up, is there any last piece of advice you'd like to share with our potential homeowners? Yeah,
I mean, again, I think what you guys are doing in the market is phenomenal. You're not just looking at saying, hey, what is the cheapest stuff we can put in, right? Because your HVAC system, it is, in my opinion, obviously I'm an industry guy, but in my opinion, it is the most important system in your house. Now, it's all part of the overall envelope, right?
Right.
Everything works together in conjunction together. So with your insulation and your, the build materials and everything, it all works together. But your HVAC system, it's something you don't want to skimp on. You really don't, because it's going to maximize your comfortability inside your home. And you really want to make sure that you're getting, good quality HVAC equipment, having good quality contractors. I know the contractors you guys use, literally some of the best in the industry. And so, don't skimp on it. Don't just look at it as something like, well, I want to save some money, so I'm going to go with, something that's a little bit cheaper, because let me tell you right now, you're going to get what you pay for when it comes to HVAC. And again, it's the most important system in the house to make sure that you are comfortable when you're sleeping in the daytime, in the summertime, in the wintertime.
When that thing goes out at 109, you're going to be on the phone real quick.
Without question.
All right. Well, Clark, once again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you very much. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Built to Last. We appreciate you joining us today, talking and listening to Clark talk about HVAC systems. If you'd like to come see us, come visit our neighborhoods, please feel to reach out. You can call our sales team at 817-308-1155. Drop by the office or just come through one of our neighborhoods. This is Eric with Maykus. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.